During dinner my son said, "You'll watch the kids while we enjoy our life. If you don't like it, there's the door." I stayed calm and said, "Perfect. I'll go and you can start paying your own bills." The words left my mouth before I could even think. Cold as ice cubes in water, the dining room went silent. My son Marcus stopped chewing mid-bite. His wife Sierra dropped her fork, the metal clanging against porcelain like a gunshot. My 3 grandchildren looked up from their plates confused, sensing something had shattered but not understanding. Only Chloe, my 16-year-old granddaughter, looked at me with those dark all-seeing eyes she inherited from my mother, and in her gaze, I saw something I never expected. Pride. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments. I love hearing from all of you. Now let me take you back to how a mother ends up at war with her own son. My name is Grace Hawthorne. I'm 62 years old, born and raised in South Carolina, moved to Atlanta 30 years ago when my husband got work at the post office. I raised Marcus alone after my husband died when Marcus was just 12. Cancer took him fast and cruel, left me with a Amaji and a boy who needed his mama more than ever. I worked 2 jobs, cleaned houses during the day, worked checkout at the grocery store at night. Marcus never went without, not once, new shoes when he needed them, school supplies, college application fees. I made sure of it. He graduated from Georgia State with a business degree. Got himself a good job at a tech company downtown. Married Sierra, a pretty girl from a well-off family in Buckhead. They had 3 kids, Chloe now 16, and the twins Elijah and Isaiah, both 8 years old. For years everything seemed fine. Marcus would visit once a month, bring the kids, let me spoil them with homemade cookies and Sunday dinners. I lived upstate in a small house I'd bought with my husband's life insurance. Cream-colored walls, a garden where I grew basil and tomatoes, a porch with a rocking chair that squeaked when I swayed. That house was my sanctuary. Every corner held a memory. Then 3 months ago, everything changed. It was a Tuesday afternoon in August. I was watering my basil plants when my phone rang. Marcus's name lit up the screen. "Mom, I need you," those words. 4 simple words that would unravel my entire life. "What's wrong, baby?" I asked, immediately worried. Had someone been in an accident? Was one of the kids sick? "Mom, Sierra's exhausted. 3 kids is too much for her to handle alone. My job has me traveling constantly. Sometimes I'm gone for weeks. We just need help, temporary help. Just a few months until we find a good nanny, until things settle down." His voice sounded so tired, so desperate. "Of course, son. What do you need me to do? Could you move in with us? Just for a little while? We have space. The kids need their grandmother. Sierra needs support. Mom, we really need you." I didn't hesitate. Not even for a second. "I'll be there. Whatever you need." That's what mothers do, right? We drop everything. We sacrifice. We show up. Marcus suggested I sell my house. "Just temporarily, Mom. You can stay with us as long as you need. And the money from the sale will help you. Give you a cushion. You've been living on that tight pension for too long. Let me help you be secure." It made sense when he said it. The house was getting old, needed repairs I couldn't afford. Property taxes were going up, and my pension was small, barely $1,500 a month. If I sold the house, I'd have a nest egg. I'd be helping my son. I'd be with my grandchildren. Win-win-win. I put the house on the market. It sold in 3 weeks for $45,000, less than it was worth. But I needed the money quickly. Marcus said there was urgency. Sierra was having some kind of breakdown. The kids were struggling in school. Everything was falling apart. I had to help. I had to move fast. I sold or gave away most of my furniture, packed my life into 2 suitcases and 3 boxes, said goodbye to my garden, my porch, my squeaky rocking chair, my memories. Drove to Atlanta on a Friday afternoon with everything I owned in my trunk. Marcus and Sierra's house was in a nice neighborhood, big houses with manicured lawns, 2-car garages, kids riding bikes on quiet streets. Their house was beautiful, 2 stories, white columns, black shutters, magazine perfect. They greeted me with hugs and smiles when I arrived. "Mom, thank God you're here," Marcus said, kissing my cheek. Sierra hugged me tight. "Grace, you're a lifesaver. I don't know what we'd do without you." The kids ran to me shouting, "Grandma! Grandma!" Chloe gave me a gentle kiss on the cheek. Her eyes sad even then. The twins, Elijah and Isaiah, jumped around me like puppies. Everything felt perfect. Warm, like family should be. They showed me to my room. It was at the end of the upstairs hallway, the smallest bedroom in the house. Marcus explained apologetically. It's temporary, Mom. We've been using it for storage, but we cleared it out for you. The room was tiny. A twin bed, a narrow closet, a window overlooking the back alley, white walls, completely bare, no space for my rocking chair, no space for my photos, no space for much of anything that made me. But Marcus put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Just until we get organized, Mom. It's perfect for now, right?" I smiled and nodded. "It's perfect, son. It's all I need." The first week was beautiful. I cooked big family dinners, made the kids lunches for school, sandwiches cut into triangles, fresh fruit, homemade cookies. I did laundry, ironed Marcus's work shirts, cleaned bathrooms, mopped floors. Sierra thanked me constantly. "Grace, you're amazing. I finally feel like I can breathe." Marcus would come home to a clean house, dinner ready, kids bathed and homework done. "Mom, you're incredible. Thank you for everything." I felt useful again, needed, important. After years of living alone in that quiet house upstate, cooking for one, talking to no one, this felt like purpose, like I mattered. The second week, Marcus and Sierra announced a work trip, 3 days in Chicago for an important conference. Could I watch the kids? Of course. That's why I was there. They left Wednesday morning in their fancy clothes with their matching luggage. Returned Sunday night tanned and relaxed, smelling of expensive wine and perfume, brought me a box of chocolates as thanks. The third week, another trip. The fourth week, another. It became routine. Every week or two they'd pack those suitcases that lived by the front door and disappear for 3, 4, 5 days. Work conference, important client meeting, industry convention, always something urgent, always something I couldn't question, and I didn't question it because I trusted my son, because mothers trust their children. My routine became rigid. Wake at 5 a.m., before the sun, make coffee in that silver coffee maker that sighed when it finished. The smell filled the silent kitchen, pack 3 lunch boxes with perfect sandwiches, washed fruit, cookies, wake the kids at 6:30, dress them, comb their hair, tie their shoes, walk them 4 blocks to school. Elijah holding my right hand, Isaiah my left, Chloe walking ahead with her headphones on. Return to the empty house. Clean. Every day clean that house that never stayed clean. Mop hardwood floors, dust furniture, fold laundry, pick up toys the twins scattered everywhere. At noon, eat alone at the kitchen sink, standing, looking out at the neglected backyard. In the afternoon pick up the kids from school, give them snacks, help with homework, take them to the park if weather allowed. In the evening cook dinners Marcus and Sierra rarely ate because they came home late, or didn't come home at all. Those suitcases by the door became furniture, permanent fixtures. Always 2, a black one and a wine-colored one packed and ready for the next escape. I started noticing things, hotel tags on the luggage when they returned, hotels with spas, hotels on beaches, hotels that didn't look like business trip hotels. One afternoon I found Sierra's phone on the living room table. It was unlocked. I wasn't trying to snoop. I really wasn't. But the screen showed an Instagram notification, a new photo. I touched it without thinking. Sierra at an elegant restaurant, wine glass in hand, smiling at the camera. The location tag said Miami. The caption read, "Well-deserved break." Posted 2 days ago, when they were supposedly at a work conference in Chicago. My heart dropped. I swiped. More photos. Sierra on a white sand beach in a coral swimsuit. Huge sunglasses. Toes in the water. Marcus beside her, tanned, relaxed, beer in hand. Both of them at an oceanfront restaurant, toasting with champagne. The dates matched their business trips exactly. Every single one. I closed the app carefully. Left the phone exactly where I found it. My hands weren't shaking yet. Something cold was settling inside me. Like when dirty water finally clears and you can see straight to the bottom. I went to the living room where the kids were playing with blocks, Elijah building towers, Isaiah knocking them down, Chloe on the couch with a book, but her eyes weren't moving across the pages. She was watching me over the edge of the book, waiting. Our eyes met. She slowly closed the book. "Grandma," she said in a low voice, "I need to show you something." We went upstairs to her room, the only space in that house with a soul. Band posters on walls, clothes draped over the chair, books piled on the desk. She locked the door, pulled out her phone, sat on the bed and patted the space beside her. I'm sorry, Grandma. I should have told you weeks ago. I didn't know how. Her voice sounded guilty, strained. She opened a messaging app, showed me something that stopped my heart cold. A group chat called Mom Plan, only members, Marcus and Sierra. Chloe had screenshots. Dozens of them, taken from her mother's phone one night. The messages dated back 4 months. Before I'd even sold my house. Marcus talked to my mom. She said yes. Sierra, perfect. With her watching the kids we saved $1,200 a month on a nanny. Marcus plus we get the money from selling her house. We can finally pay off the credit cards. Sierra, genius. We'll tell her we're holding it for her but use it for the debts. She doesn't know how to check bank statements anyway. Marcus, she's my mom. She won't ask questions. I kept reading. My vision blurred. There were dozens more. Sierra complaining I cooked with too much oil. Marcus laughing about how I couldn't work the TV remote. Both planning trips while I babysat. Sierra suggesting they give me a smaller room because she doesn't need much space at her age. Marcus replying, the storage room is fine for someone like her. A recent message from 2 weeks ago. Sierra, your mom is starting to ask questions about the money. Marcus, I'll tell her it's invested. She doesn't understand that stuff. Sierra, we should get her to sign power of attorney. Then we have total control. Marcus, good idea. I'll say it's for emergencies. Chloe took the phone away. My hands were fists in my lap, nails digging into palms. There's more, she whispered. They sold your furniture. The stuff you left in the garage? Mom posted it on Facebook Marketplace. Got $800. They went to a fancy restaurant. I was there. They made me go. Dad raised a toast and said thank you, Mom, for your generosity. I walked to her window. The street looked so normal. Trees swaying, identical houses, perfect lawns, but my world had turned inside out. For 3 months I'd believed I was helping my son. For 3 months I'd woken at 5 a.m., cooked, cleaned, cared for his children. For 3 months I'd slept in that tiny room feeling useful and needed. It had all been a lie, from the very beginning. Grandma, I'm sorry. Chloe stood beside me, tears running down her face. I wanted to tell you sooner but I was scared. Scared you'd leave and I'd be stuck here alone with them. Because you're the only one in this house who treats me like I matter. The only one who asks about my day. The only one who sees me. I hugged her, felt her thin body tremble. She was only 16, trapped in a family that used her like a decoration. I realized then, I wasn't the only one being exploited. Chloe was invisible to her parents too, just another responsibility delegated to Grandma while they lived their perfect Instagram life. I won't leave without you, I whispered. I promise. That afternoon, after the twins settled in front of the TV, I went to my room and closed the door. Pulled out an old notebook, started writing everything I could remember. Dates. Marcus asked for money. Times they traveled. The missing furniture. The promises. The lies. Every detail. Then I found a wrinkled business card at the bottom of my suitcase. Attorney Jackson. An older lawyer from my hometown who'd helped me with my husband's will years ago. I didn't know if he still practiced. Didn't know if the number worked. But he was the only person I could think of who might help. I used the house phone to call. My fingers trembled dialing. It rang 3, 4, 5 times. I was about to hang up. Then, Attorney Jackson's office. My heart leaped. This is Grace Hawthorne. I don't know if you remember me. You helped my husband years ago with his will. A pause. Then his voice warmer. Of course I remember you, Mrs. Hawthorne. How are you? How can I help? I told him everything, low voice so the kids wouldn't hear. The money, the furniture, the lies, the messages Chloe showed me. He listened in silence. When I finished, another long pause. Mrs. Hawthorne, what you're describing is financial exploitation of an elderly person. It's a crime. You have rights. You have options. He explained. I could recover my money. The messages were evidence. The unauthorized sale of my furniture was theft, but he warned it would be difficult, painful, public. My son could face serious consequences. Are you sure you want to proceed? I looked around the kitchen I cleaned every day, the dishes in the drainer, the floor I mopped, the grocery list in my handwriting. My life turned into unpaid service. I'm sure, I said. Tell me what I need to do. Attorney Jackson gave precise instructions. I needed proof. The messages Chloe showed me were a start. But we needed more: bank documents, evidence of the furniture sale, recorded conversations if possible. But most importantly, Mrs. Hawthorne, you cannot let them know that you know. Act normal. Continue being the helpful grandmother while you gather evidence. If they suspect anything, they'll hide everything and you'll lose your chance. Act normal. Those 2 words became my mantra. Act normal while my heart broke. Act normal while preparing breakfast for people who betrayed me. Act normal while ironing shirts for a son who saw me as free labor. That night, Marcus and Sierra came home late, laughing about something. Shopping bags from expensive stores. Sierra wore a new lavender dress that probably cost more than I spent on groceries all week. They found me cleaning dinner dishes. "Hey Mom," Marcus said, kissing my forehead like nothing was wrong. "Kids asleep?" "Yes, they're in bed." Sierra walked past without a glance. Heels clicking, trail of sweet perfume turning my stomach. Marcus opened the fridge, grabbed a beer, leaned against the counter. "Mom, I need to talk to you about something important." My heart raced but my hands stayed steady, washing a plate. "Tell me, son." He took a long drink. "It's about your finances. I've been thinking you should sign a power of attorney. It's a legal document that lets me handle your money in case of medical emergency, for your safety." There it was. Exactly what the messages predicted. I dried my hands slowly on the towel, giving myself time to control my voice. "A power of attorney," I repeated. "Yeah. It's common. Lots of elderly people do it. That way I can help with bank paperwork and complicated stuff. You know you're not good with technology, Mom. It's just to make your life easier." I looked him in the eyes. Those brown eyes identical to mine. Eyes that once looked up at me with need when he cried as a baby, when he was scared of storms as a child, when his first girlfriend broke his heart as a teenager. Now those eyes looked at me with barely disguised manipulation. "Let me think about it," I said softly. "It's important. I want to understand it correctly." His expression changed for a fraction of a second. Flash of irritation, then the smile returned. "Sure, Mom, take your time. But it's nothing major, really. Just a piece of paper." He finished his beer, left the empty bottle on the counter for me to throw away. Walked out. I heard him climb the stairs, heard his bedroom door close, heard the TV turn on. I stayed alone in the kitchen. Hands still damp, I picked up his empty bottle and threw it in recycling. And as I did, I realized something. I no longer felt pain. No longer felt that pinch in the chest when someone you love disappoints you. What I felt was different. More dangerous. Determination. The next morning, after taking the kids to school, I returned to an empty house, went upstairs to Marcus and Sierra's bedroom. First time I'd been in there since arriving. They were out at another midday meeting. I opened Marcus's closet. Expensive suits. Perfectly ironed shirts. Shoes lined up like soldiers. On the top shelf were shoe boxes. I took them down one by one. The 5th box didn't contain shoes. It held papers. Bank statements. I carried them to the bed, examined them in the window light. It was all there. My savings account in my name, but Marcus listed as co-signer. Initial balance, $45,000. Withdrawals started 2 weeks after I arrived. $3,000, $2,500. Each withdrawal had vague descriptions. Medical expenses, home repairs, family investment. I'd never had medical expenses. The house hadn't had repairs. There was no investment. Current balance $16,200. Marcus had spent nearly $30,000 of my money in 3 months. I took out my phone, the one Chloe had taught me to use better. I photographed every page, every statement, every withdrawal, every lie documented on bank letterhead. My hands were steady now, like a surgeon making precise incisions. I put everything back exactly as I found it. Closed the closet, went downstairs, made tea, sat at the kitchen table to wait. When they returned 2 hours later with more shopping bags, they found me peeling potatoes for dinner. "Hey Mom," they said in unison. I smiled, the smile I'd perfected over 62 years. The one that hid everything I needed to hide. That night after everyone slept, I went to the dark living room, sat on the sofa, opened my phone, sent Attorney Jackson all the photos. He responded within minutes despite the late hour. "This is more than enough. We're ready when you say the word. But remember, once we start there's no turning back. Your son will face charges, serious legal consequences. I looked around the dark room, the twins' toys in their basket, family photos on the wall with perfect smiles and perfect lies, the suitcases by the door, always ready for the next escape. I thought of my lost home, my stolen money, my trampled dignity. I thought of Chloe upstairs. Probably awake too, wondering if I'd really do something. I typed my reply, "I'm ready. What's next?" His response came quickly, "First, you need somewhere to go. You can't stay there once they know. Do you have family, friends, someone who can take you in temporarily?" That was the hard part. All my family was gone. My husband 10 years ago, my sister 5 years ago, my parents long before. Friends were all in my hometown 300 miles away. Then I remembered a distant cousin, Janet, who lived in Atlanta. We hadn't seen each other in years. Not since my sister's funeral, but she'd always said, "Call if you need anything." The next day while the kids were at school, I called her. Her voice sounded surprised but warm. "Grace, what a surprise. How are you?" I told her I was fine, that I lived nearby now, that I'd like to see her to catch up. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop the next day. I didn't tell her more over the phone. Some conversations need to be face to face. The coffee shop smelled of cinnamon and fresh coffee. Janet arrived 10 minutes late, apologizing, gray hair in a bun, kind eyes crinkling at the corners. We sat by the window, ordered coffee, then I told her everything, every detail, every betrayal, every lie. She listened in silence, coffee cooling untouched. When I finished, she reached across the table and took my hand. Her eyes were wet. "Grace, you can stay with me as long as you need. I have a guest room. It's not big, but it's yours. And if that girl Chloe needs to come too, she's welcome. No one deserves to be treated like that. Especially not you, who gave your whole life for your family." I felt something loosen in my chest. A knot tight for months. "Thank you, Janet. You don't know what this means." She squeezed my hand tighter. Women have to look out for each other, especially when sons forget how to look out for the mothers who raised them. The next few days were the strangest of my life. I lived in two realities. In one, I was the usual helpful grandma up before dawn making breakfasts, packing lunches, cleaning, folding laundry. In the other, I was a silent strategist gathering evidence piece by piece, building my escape like assembling a secret puzzle. One afternoon while cleaning Marcus's study, I found more. A crumpled receipt in the wastebasket. From a high-end jewelry boutique. $2,300 for a white gold bracelet. The date matched a withdrawal from my account. Sierra wore that bracelet in her last Instagram post, showing it off on her slender wrist while holding wine. Caption, "When your husband spoils you for no reason, he loves me so much." I photographed a receipt, crumpled it exactly as it was, put it back, kept cleaning like nothing happened. But inside, something burned. That night at dinner, Sierra wore the bracelet. Dining room light reflected off the gold, making it sparkle. She deliberately moved her wrist while eating, making sure everyone saw. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" she said, looking at Marcus with bright eyes. "My husband has such good taste." Marcus smiled proudly. "Only the best for you, love." Chloe looked at me from across the table. Our eyes met. She knew. I could see she knew I'd discovered something else. She lowered her gaze and kept eating in silence. But I saw her fingers squeeze the fork harder. Saturday came. Marcus announced at breakfast, another trip. This time Miami, 5 days for an important industry convention. "Mom, you'll take care of everything here, right?" Not a question. I nodded while pouring more orange juice. "Of course, son, go. Be at ease." They left Sunday morning. I watched them load suitcases into the car. Sierra, in huge sunglasses and a mint-colored dress fluttering in the breeze. Marcus in his perfectly ironed shirt. They kissed my cheeks. "Be good, kids," Sierra shouted out the window as they drove away. The car disappeared around the corner. I stood in the driveway with the 3 children beside me, feeling the weight of what I was about to do. That afternoon after the twins napped, I asked Chloe to my room, locked the door. We sat on the edge of my narrow bed. "Chloe, I need your help with something important." She nodded immediately. "Anything, Grandma?" I explained my plan. I needed access to Marcus's laptop. Needed to check emails, files, any other evidence of how he spent my money. Chloe knew the password. She sometimes used it for schoolwork, but we had to be careful. No trace, no changes. Just look and document. She looked at me with eyes too old for her age. "Grandma, They're robbing you. Of course I'll help. But there's something else you need to know. She lowered her voice. Mom's not pregnant. That story they told you a month ago about the high-risk pregnancy is a lie. I heard her on the phone with her sister. She said they invented it so you wouldn't ask questions about why they travel so much. The air caught in my throat. I remembered Marcus sitting me down in the living room, telling me with a serious face that Sierra was pregnant but there were complications, that she needed rest, that doctors recommended short trips to reduce stress. I'd cried with happiness, thinking I'd have another grandchild. I'd cooked special meals. I'd insisted Sierra not lift a finger, all an act. Thank you for telling me, I whispered. Chloe put her hand on mine. Grandma, when you leave, I want to go with you. I can't keep living with them. They use me for family photos, but they don't care about me. They never have. The only reason they haven't sent me to boarding school is because it would look bad on social media. I hugged her tight. You're coming with me. I swear it on everything I am. That night, after putting the twins to bed, Chloe and I sat in front of Marcus's laptop in his study. Monitor light glowed in darkness. She entered the password. The screen lit up showing a desktop with meticulously organized folders. We started checking, found emails, dozens between Marcus and a real estate agent, planning to sell the house. Conversation started 2 months ago. Agent said they could get $500,000 for the property. Marcus replied asking about smaller houses in other neighborhoods. Houses with 3 bedrooms, no space for me. Plan was to sell me the idea of an assisted living facility, make me believe it was for my well-being, keep my share of the sale money. There was a folder called Mom Finances. We opened it. Detailed spreadsheets of every cent they spent of my money. Trips to Miami $4,000, restaurants $2,100, clothes and accessories $6,800, new living room furniture $3,500, credit card payments, every expense meticulously documented like something to be proud of. Chloe photographed everything with her phone while I stared at the screen, world blurring at edges. This was my son, the baby I nursed, the boy I watched over when he had pneumonia at 7 without sleeping 3 nights. The teenager I helped with math homework, the young man I loaned money to for his first car, the man for whom I sold my home. We found a Word document titled Strategy. Opened it. Step-by-step plan to manipulate me. Step 1. Convince her to sell house and move here. Step 2. Take control of her money under pretense of helping. Step 3. Get her to sign power of attorney. Step 4. Use her as free nanny while we pay debts. Step 5. When money runs out, convince her assisted living is best option. Step 6. Sell house, move somewhere smaller without her. Planned from the beginning. Every hug. Every we need you, Mom. Every thank you for everything you do. Calculated. I wasn't his mother, I was a resource to be exploited. That's enough, Chloe said, voice strained. She was crying too. Grandma, we have everything, let's go. Please, let's go now. But I shook my head. Not yet. We wait for them to return. If we leave now while they're traveling, they'll call police. Say I abandoned them with the children, we wait until they're back. Those 5 days were eternal. I cared for the twins as always, took them to the park, made their favorite meals, read them stories before bed. Elijah and Isaiah had no idea what was happening. They were innocent in all this. That was the part that hurt most. I loved them, loved their laughter. Spontaneous hugs, the way they called me grandma in high voices, but I couldn't save them without destroying myself. And I'd finally learned that saving myself wasn't selfish. It was survival. At night when the house slept, I packed in silence. One suitcase with my clothes. Another with important documents. My husband's photos. My rosary. My mother's recipe book. The few things that truly mattered, I hid them in the back of my closet, ready to leave at any moment. Attorney Jackson called every afternoon to review the plan. He'd prepared all legal documents. Temporary restraining order so Marcus couldn't touch what was left of my money. Civil lawsuit for misappropriation of funds. Criminal complaint for financial abuse of an elderly person. Everything ready, just waiting for my signal. Thursday night, Marcus called. Voice relaxed. Happy. Hey Mom, how are the kids? I told him they were fine. Everything quiet. Perfect, he said. We'll be back Saturday afternoon. Oh, and Mom, when we get back, I need us to sign that power of attorney. Already spoke to the notary. Important we do it soon. Of course, son. I replied with sweet voice. Whenever you want. I hung up. Looked at the calendar on the wall. Saturday. In 2 days my life would change forever. Friday morning dawned bright and clear. I woke with strange clarity, as if all fear and doubt had evaporated overnight. Got up at 5 a.m. as always, but this time not from obligation, from choice. Made coffee in the silent kitchen, sat by the window watching the sky change from black to gray to pink. My second to last morning in this house. Tomorrow at this time, everything would be over. I called Janet early. Tomorrow, I simply said. Tomorrow, we're leaving. She didn't ask questions, just said, I'll be ready. I'll text you the address. Come when you can. Then I called Attorney Jackson. Tomorrow afternoon, they get back at 4, I need documents ready for 5. He replied with firm voice. They'll be ready. You just get yourself and the girl out of that house. I'll take care of the rest. I spent that day in a strange state, like watching my life from outside. Took the twins to the park. Watched them swing, laughter filling warm afternoon air. Isaiah asked me to push him higher. Elijah wanted me to watch his tricks on monkey bars. I watched, recording every moment in memory, knowing it would probably be the last time I cared for them like this. It wasn't their fault, they were innocent, but I couldn't save them without sacrificing myself. And I'd finally learned that saving myself wasn't selfishness, it was survival. That night I prepared special dinner, roasted chicken with potatoes and carrots, the twins' favorite, even made pecan pie for dessert, the one Chloe loved. The 4 of us ate at the kitchen table. Twins talked non-stop about their day at school. Chloe ate in silence but every now and then looked at me. In her eyes I saw the unspoken question, is it really happening? I nodded slightly. Yes. Tomorrow everything changes. After putting children to bed, I went to my room, checked everything one last time. Suitcases ready, hidden in closet back, important documents in my purse. Chloe's photos on her phone, all evidence backed up to cloud. Attorney Jackson had copies of everything, no going back. The plan was in motion like a rock rolling downhill. Unstoppable. I lay down but didn't sleep. Spent the night staring at ceiling, listening to house sounds, refrigerator humming, water heater clicking, small creaks of wood settling. This house had never been mine, never belonged to me. I'd only been a temporary piece, useful while I lasted, disposable when spent. Saturday dawned bright and clear. Got up, showered, dressed carefully, comfortable pants, simple ivory blouse, shoes I could walk in for hours if necessary, pulled hair back in low bun, looked at myself in the small mirror. The woman looking back wasn't the same one who'd arrived 3 months ago. That woman had been naive, hopeful, desperate to feel needed. This woman was different. This woman had learned that sometimes love isn't enough, that sometimes people disappoint you in ways you never imagined, that sometimes the only way to survive is to walk away. I made breakfast, woke the twins, fed them, bathed them, put on clean clothes, did everything exactly as I'd done every morning for 3 months, but inside I was counting hours. 4 p.m., that was the moment. At 2 p.m. I started moving things. Brought suitcases downstairs when twins watched TV in living room. Put them by back door, hidden behind curtains. Chloe came down with her own small backpack, just essentials. I'd told her, we can get the rest later. She'd packed clothes, ID, laptop, a few photos, nothing more. At 3:30 my phone rang. Janet, I'm ready. Are you still a go? I replied. Yes. We leave in half an hour. Then I texted Attorney Jackson, proceed. I'll be out in an hour. The minutes dragged. I sat in living room with twins, watching their cartoon show. Isaiah cuddled against my side. Elijah put his head in my lap. I stroked them gently, recording the feeling of soft hair beneath my fingers, the small weight of their trusting bodies. You're going to be okay, I whispered to them, though they couldn't hear over TV sound. Your parents will take care of you. You'll grow up and maybe someday you'll understand. At 4:10 I heard the car in the driveway. My heart raced but hands remained steady. Marcus and Sierra walked in the front door, tanned and relaxed. Carried suitcases, bags of souvenirs, wide smiles. Hey, they shouted. We're home. Twins ran to them screaming, Dad, Mom. Marcus lifted both, one in each arm, laughing. Sierra saw me on sofa. Hey Grace. Everything okay? Voice casual, disinterested. I nodded. Everything's fine. She walked past toward kitchen dragging her suitcase. Marcus put children down, turned to me. Mom, give me half an hour to shower and we'll sit down to sign those papers. The notary can come first thing tomorrow. Yes, son, I replied. Take your time. They went upstairs. I heard footsteps on floor above, heard shower turn on. This was the moment. I got up from sofa with all the calm in the world. Chloe appeared at living room entrance. We looked at each other. She nodded. I nodded. Went to back door, grabbed my suitcases. Chloe grabbed her backpack. We walked through kitchen out to backyard, then circled house to street. My old car parked on curb, the one Marcus suggested I sell because I didn't need it. Glad I never listened. I opened trunk, put in suitcases, got in car. Before starting engine, pulled white envelope from my purse. Inside was handwritten letter, drafted at night before. Choosing every word carefully, read it one last time. Marcus, when you read this, I'll be gone. I will no longer be your unpaid employee. I won't sign any power of attorney. I won't allow you to keep robbing me. My lawyer will contact you regarding money you spent without authorization. I hope those trips and jewels were worth it because they'll cost you much more than you paid. The children are with you, as they should be. They're your responsibility, not mine. Chloe is coming with me because she decided to. She's 16 and has the right to choose. Don't try to look for me. Don't try to contact me. We're done. Your mother, Grace. Got out of car, walked back to front door, slid envelope underneath, watched it disappear into the house, returned to car, started engine, drove toward corner without looking back. Chloe was quiet in passenger seat. I took her hand. She squeezed mine hard. It's okay to be scared, I said. I'm scared too, but we're going to be okay, together. We're going to be fine. I drove following GPS to Janet's house. 20 minutes through city. 20 minutes that felt like hours. Every red light seemed like eternity. I checked rearview mirror expecting Marcus's car following, but the street behind remained empty. Arrived at small house in quiet neighborhood. Peach-colored walls, flower garden, big tree in front. Janet came out before we could knock. Hugged both of us without a word. Then led us inside. Closed door, said, "You're safe here. Welcome home." The guest room was simple but cozy. Double bed, small desk, cream-colored curtains, window with view of backyard full of plants. Chloe and I put down bags, sat on bed. For a moment neither of us said anything. Then my phone started ringing. Marcus's name glowed on screen. I let it ring until voicemail. Immediately rang again, and again, and again. 10 calls in 5 minutes. Chloe looked at me with wide eyes. "You're not going to answer?" It wasn't a question. I shook my head. "No, there's nothing left to say." The messages started coming. I read them on screen without opening conversations. "Mom, what does this mean? Mom, answer the phone. Mom, you can't just leave like this. Mom, this is ridiculous. Mom, come back right now. Mom, I'm going to call the police. Mom, you'll regret this." Each message more desperate than the last. But I didn't reply to any. At 5:30 Janet's doorbell rang. She went to open it. I heard her speaking to someone at door, then returned to room. "It's a messenger. Has documents for you." I went to living room. Man in uniform handed me large envelope. "Need you to sign here, ma'am." He left. I opened envelope. Attorney Jackson's documents. Temporary restraining order. Civil lawsuit. Criminal complaint. Everything officially filed with courts. Marcus would receive his copy any moment. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Attorney Jackson. "Mrs. Hawthorne, documents are filed. Marcus has been notified. From this moment he can't access your bank account. What's left of your money is protected. We've also filed lawsuit to recover what he spent without authorization. Criminal complaint is with the prosecutor. He'll try to contact you. Don't respond. Any communication must be through me." "Thank you, Attorney Jackson," I said, voice firm. "You don't know what this means." He replied, "Ma'am, I've seen many cases like yours. Children exploiting elderly parents. But I rarely see someone with courage to do what you're doing. It'll be tough. He'll fight. But law is on your side. Evidence is irrefutable." That night Janet cooked dinner. Vegetable soup. Homemade bread. Chamomile tea. We ate in her small cozy kitchen with flowered placemats and cloth napkins. Everything so simple, so peaceful. No tension, no walking on eggshells. No suitcases waiting by door. For first time in 3 months, I breathed deeply and felt lungs fill completely. After dinner, Chloe and I sat in guest room. She pulled out phone. Grandma, Dad's texting me. Dozens of messages. I read a few. Chloe, this is your grandma's fault. She's abandoning us. Chloe, tell her to come back or she'll destroy this family. Chloe, she's manipulating you. Chloe, if you don't come back you'll regret it. Every message a mix of manipulation and threat. What do you want to do? I asked. Do you want to go back? She looked at me as if I'd asked her to cut off her arm. No, Grandma. Never. I'd rather sleep on floor than go back. They never saw me. They only saw you when they needed something, and only saw me when they needed perfect family photo for Instagram. We aren't people to them. We're accessories. That night, lying in same bed in dark, Chloe told me things she'd never shared. How her parents mocked her when she wasn't thin enough for their standards. How Sierra would buy clothes 2 sizes too small as motivation to lose weight. How Marcus told her she needed to try harder in school. Be more popular, get better grades, better represent the family. How they checked her social media, demanded she delete posts that didn't project right image. How invisible she felt until I arrived. Until someone finally asked about her day and genuinely listened to the answer. She cried in my arms that night. I cried too. For her. For me. For years we both lost trying to please people who were never going to be satisfied. Sunday dawned with rain. Soft drops tapping window. Sky gray and heavy. My phone continued receiving calls and messages. Marcus. Sierra. Unknown numbers that were probably them calling from other phones. I didn't answer any but I read them. I needed to know what they were planning. Sierra wrote, Grace, I don't know what's wrong with you but this is so selfish. You left us with 3 kids and no help. How are we supposed to work now? And you took Chloe. She has to go to school. This is kidnapping. You'll have legal problems. I took screenshot. Sent to Attorney Jackson. He replied. Perfect. This proves they saw you as unpaid employee. Chloe is 16 and has rights. Not kidnapping. Save everything they send. In afternoon Marcus changed strategy. Messages became pleading. Mom, please, let's talk. I know I made mistakes. We can fix this. Kids miss you. Elijah asks about you. Isaiah cries at night. Don't do this to them. They love you. I love you. You're my mother. You can't abandon me like this. I read those messages and felt something twist in stomach. Because part of me, that part that had been mother for 42 years, wanted to believe him, wanted to think maybe he truly regretted it. Maybe we could fix this. But then I remembered mom plan messages. I remembered spreadsheet with every cent of my money spent on luxuries. I remembered document called strategy. I remembered $2,300 bracelet glittering on Sierra's wrist. No, I told myself out loud. I won't fall for it again. Chloe looked up from desk where she did homework. Grandma, are you okay? I nodded. I'm fine. Just reminding myself who I am. Monday Chloe and I went to her school to arrange a dress change. Secretary looked at us distrustfully. We need authorization from both parents for information changes, she said in dry tone. Chloe pulled out her ID. I'm 16. In this state I have right to choose who I live with. If there's just cause. My grandmother is my temporary legal guardian. Here are documents. We handed her papers Attorney Jackson prepared. Secretary reviewed them, frowned, made call, spoke to someone in low voice, finally sighed. All right, change is made. But if parents come to complain we'll have to call authorities. Chloe replied with firm voice, call them, I have nothing to hide. We left school holding hands. I felt something swell in my chest. Pride. This 16-year-old girl had more backbone than many adults I knew. That afternoon, while Janet was at work and Chloe at school, I sat in small backyard garden, wooden bench, under tree. I sat with tea listening to birds, watching clouds move slowly across sky. My phone was inside. I hadn't brought it, for first time in months, completely alone with my thoughts, without interruption. I thought about my 62 years. Wife for 35 years until my husband died. Mother since I was 30. Worked cleaning houses to pay bills when Marcus was small and my husband wasn't earning enough. Cooked thousands of meals. Washed thousands of loads of laundry. Cleaned countless floors. Sacrificed my own dreams again and again for family. And in the end my own son saw me as disposable tool. But I was still here, breathing, alive. Free. That had to mean something. A mint plant grew in pot next to bench. I touched it gently. Leaves released fresh strong aroma, mint like the kind that grew in my lost garden. Janet must have planted it. Or maybe it was always there, waiting for me. I tore off small leaf, rubbed it between fingers. Scent filled me, anchored me to present moment. I was going to be fine. I didn't know exactly how, didn't know how long it would take, but I was going to be fine. When Chloe returned from school, she found me in garden, sat next to me on bench. Grandma, Dad went to school today. He saw me leaving, tried to talk to me. My heart sped up. What did he say? She shrugged. That I'm making mistake, that you brainwashed me, that I'll regret it. Usual stuff. I told him to leave me alone or I'd call security. He left. I'm sorry, Chloe. I don't want you going through this. She took my hand. Grandma, I've been through worse living with them. What we're doing now, this is liberation. First week at Janet's passed in strange fog. Every morning I woke expecting to hear twins' voices, expecting to rush to prepare breakfasts and pack lunches. But instead there was silence. Soft, gentle silence that took days to appreciate. Janet left for work early. Chloe left for school. I was left alone in small house that smelled of lavender and toast. At first I didn't know what to do with myself. Cleaned things already clean. Cooked portions too large, as if still feeding 5 people. Found myself standing every time I heard noise, ready to attend someone who wasn't there. 62 years of being conditioned to serve doesn't disappear in a week. But slowly I started remembering who I was before becoming my son's invisible shadow. One afternoon I found Janet's painting supplies in cupboard. She told me, use them whenever you want. Haven't touched them in years. I took out watercolors, brushes, thick paper, sat in garden and painted first thing that came to mind. Small house with cream-colored walls, garden with basil plants, rocking chair on porch, my lost home taking shape in soft colors on white paper. I cried as I painted, but it wasn't desperate cry of first days. It was something different, necessary mourning. Farewell to what had been. When I finished I hung painting on my bedroom wall. Reminder that lost things don't completely disappear if you keep them in heart. Marcus's messages continued. Every day new strategy. First pleading, then threats, then attempts to make me feel guilty. Mom, Elijah got sick and asked for you. Mom, Isaiah's getting bad grades because he's depressed. Mom, Sierra had to quit her job because of you. Mom, we're going to lose house if you don't help. Each message designed to make me give in, return, submit again. But Attorney Jackson warned me about this. They call it cycle of abuse. First apologies and promises, then threats, then guilt, then start over. Predictable. Don't fall for it. I saved every message without responding. Evident. Proof of manipulation pattern that had lasted my entire life without recognizing it. One afternoon 2 weeks after I left, Sierra showed up at Janet's door. I don't know how she got address. Maybe followed Chloe. Maybe hired someone to track us. Janet called me. Grace, that woman's on my porch. Says she won't leave until she talks to you. What do I do? Don't open door. I told her. I'm coming now. I drove back, heart pounding. When I arrived, Sierra sat on front steps. Looked different without perfect makeup and designer clothes. Gray sweatpants. Sweatshirt. Hair in messy ponytail. She stood when she saw me. Grace, we need to talk. We have nothing to talk about, I replied, maintaining distance. My lawyer told you all communication through him. She took step toward me. Please, just listen for 5 minutes. Marcus doesn't know I'm here. I came alone. I looked in her eyes. Something different there. Something resembling genuine fear. Against better judgment I said, 5 minutes. Out here. You're not coming in house. We sat on front steps, separated by about 3 feet. Sierra nervously rubbed hands together. Grace, I know we made mistakes. I know we used you. But you don't understand full situation. Marcus has debts. A lot of debt. Over $200,000 in credit cards and loans. We were desperate. When you said you were selling your house, it seemed like salvation. It wasn't with bad intentions. We were just trying to survive. So my survival mattered less than yours? I said flatly. My money, my labor, my life, all expendable so you could continue living beyond your means? That's not it, she protested. We were going to pay you back eventually. When Marcus's situation improved, when he got the promotion they promised, you were going to get your money back with interest. Eventually, I repeated. When exactly? After you spent every last penny? After you got me to sign power of attorney? After you put me in cheap assisted living? I saw the messages. Sierra, I saw the whole plan. Don't treat me like I'm stupid. She fell silent. Tear rolled down cheek. Grace, they're going to put Marcus in jail. Prosecutor's lawyer says he could face up to 5 years for fraud and financial abuse of elderly person. 5 years. Our children will grow up without father. She looked at me with pleading eyes. Please drop charges. We'll give back what's left. We'll sign whatever, but don't destroy your own son. I felt something clench in chest because that part of me that was mother still existed. That part, remembering Marcus as small innocent child, full of dreams. But then I remembered other things. Messages in mom plan group, how he laughed planning to give me smallest room, spreadsheet where my 30,000 turned into vacations and jewels. His voice at family dinner, your job is to look after my kids while I enjoy my life. I'm not destroying my son, I said slowly. He destroyed himself with his choices. I'm simply protecting myself. Something I should have done long ago. Sierra stood abruptly. You're selfish, bitter old woman who can't stand to see your own son happy. Marcus gave you roof over your head, gave you family. This is how you repay him. I hope you can live with yourself knowing you destroyed your own family. I stood too. Kept voice calm though trembling inside. Sierra, my son stole $30,000 from me. He lied. Exploited me. Treated me as unpaid employee. Planned to put me in assisted living when I was no longer useful. And you were there every step supporting him. Spending my money on gold bracelets. Don't talk to me about family. You two destroyed that long before I left. She opened mouth to reply but no words came. Turned and walked toward her car. Before getting in she shouted, "This isn't over, we're going to fight. We're going to get Chloe back and you'll regret this." I watched her drive away, legs shaking. Went inside, collapsed on sofa. Janet came out of kitchen where she'd been listening. Hugged me without word. I allowed myself to cry for everything I'd lost. For everything I'd never have again. For family I thought I had but never truly existed. That night Attorney Jackson called. "Mrs. Hawthorne, I have news. Marcus is trying to reach settlement. He offers to return $24,000. Everything supposedly left after paying some critical debts. In exchange, you drop criminal charges. You can still pursue civil lawsuit if you want. But he'd avoid jail." I considered offer. 24,000 of my original 45,000. Better than nothing. Marcus would avoid prison. Twins wouldn't grow up visiting father behind bars. But something in me resisted. What about power of attorney? He tried to make me sign. What about furniture they sold? What about months I worked as free nanny? Attorney Jackson sighed. Legally, unpaid family care work is difficult to quantify in court. We can include furniture in civil suit. Power of attorney was never signed so doesn't constitute crime. Only attempted. If you accept settlement you recover most money. And close this chapter. If you move forward with everything you might win more eventually but it'll be long, painful, public process. Your son will go to prison. Decision is yours. I need to think about it, I said. Give me few days. That decision haunted me all week. Chloe told me, "Grandma, don't give them anything. Make them pay for everything they did." Janet told me, "Grace, only you know what's right for you." I wrestled between justice and mercy. Between son he'd been and man he'd become. Answer came unexpectedly. Tuesday afternoon 3 weeks after I left. I was in Janet's garden watering mint plants. I'd started caring for his daily ritual. Phone rang. Unknown number. Almost didn't answer, but something made me slide finger across screen. "Hello," I said cautiously. "Grandma Grace." It was Isaiah's voice, one of twins. His small voice shot through phone like arrow to heart. "Grandma, I miss you so much. When are you coming back? Dad says you left because you don't love us." My breath hitched. I heard background noise, then Marcus's voice. "Isaiah, give me phone now." "No," Isaiah yelled. "I want to talk to Grandma." There was struggle. Phone dropped. I heard Isaiah crying. Then Marcus's voice, clear and cold. "See what you're causing, Mom? Your grandchildren are suffering because of your selfishness." Call cut off. I stood there, phone in hand, trembling. Janet came out to garden, found me with tears rolling down cheeks. What happened? She asked, alarmed. I told her. She pressed lips together, furious. That's pure manipulation. He's using that child as weapon. This has to stop, Grace. I called Attorney Jackson immediately. Told him about call. He listened in silence, then said, this is harassment via minor. I can request broader restraining order, including indirect contact. But Mrs. Hawthorne, I need you to make decision about settlement. Marcus is pushing because he knows prosecutor has solid case. If you reject settlement, we go to trial. He faces serious criminal charges. I need to know what you want to do. I sat on garden bench. Afternoon sun warmed my face. Closed eyes and thought about everything. 30,000 stolen, months of unpaid labor, manipulation, lies. But also thought of Isaiah crying. Elijah probably just as confused. How their lives would change if father went to prison. Then realized something. This had never been about revenge. It had been about dignity, setting boundaries, saying no more, and I'd already achieved that, already left, already recovered freedom, already saved Chloe. Sending Marcus to prison wouldn't give back lost years, wouldn't heal wounds, would only add more pain to already painful situation. I accept settlement, I told Attorney Jackson, but with conditions. I want $24,000 in 1 week. I want Marcus and Sierra to sign document, acknowledging what they did. I want them to commit to never contacting me again, directly or indirectly, and I want them to leave Chloe alone. If they try to force her to return, agreement is cancelled and we go to trial. Attorney Jackson took a moment to reply. That's fair, I'll draft terms. But Mrs. Hawthorne, are you sure you have every right to demand complete justice? I'm sure, I replied. I don't want my grandchildren growing up hating me because I put their father in prison. I've lost enough. I won't lose inner peace too by seeking revenge that won't make me feel better. Settlement was signed following Friday. Attorney Jackson met me at his office. I arrived with Janet for moral support. Marcus and Sierra were already there with their own lawyer, man in dark suit with unfriendly face. Marcus wouldn't look me in eye. Sierra looked at floor. Attorney Jackson read terms aloud. Marcus Hawthorne and Sierra Benson acknowledge having improperly used funds belonging to Mrs. Grace Hawthorne. They commit to returning said amount in full within 7 days. They acknowledge having sold Mrs. Hawthorne's personal property without authorization valued at $800, which will also be restituted. They commit to not contacting Mrs. Hawthorne or her granddaughter Chloe Hawthorne by any means, direct or indirect, unless through legal representation. Mrs. Hawthorne agrees to drop criminal charges, but retains right to proceed with civil lawsuit if any terms are violated. We all signed. Pens scratched paper in tense silence. When we finished, Attorney Jackson gathered documents. Marcus's lawyer handed him check. Attorney Jackson examined it, nodded. $24,800. Everything in order. Marcus stood to leave. At door he stopped, turned to me for first time. Mom, he said in low voice, I'm sorry. I really am. I don't know when everything got out of control. I always loved you, have always loved you. I looked him in eyes, those eyes identical to mine. Marcus, I replied, voice calm. I wish that had been enough, but love without respect isn't love. It's just word you use when you need something. I hope you understand that someday for your children's sake. He opened mouth as if to say more but nothing came out. Walked out of office with Sierra following. I watched them through window. Felt something close inside. Chapter ending. Door closing softly but definitely. That night, Chloe, Janet and I celebrated in small kitchen. Nothing extravagant. Just homemade pasta, salad, bottle of cheap wine Janet pulled from pantry. We toasted to new beginnings. To women who save each other. To courage to say enough. With recovered money I started planning. Couldn't stay with Janet forever. She insisted there was no rush. That we were welcome as long as needed, but I needed my own space. Needed to rebuild in place that was mine. Found small apartment, 2 miles from Janet's, older building, but well-maintained with 2-bedroom units for seniors. Rent was $600 a month. Utilities included, had small kitchen with window facing east. Perfect for morning sun, narrow balcony where I could put potted plants. Most importantly, 2 bedrooms, one for me, one for Chloe. I showed her the place. She walked through empty rooms, steps echoing on hardwood floors. Grandma, it's perfect, she said with smile. We can make it ours. We signed lease following week. Moved in with little we had. Janet helped, bringing boxes of things she no longer used. Plates, pots, sheets, towels. Share what I have, she insisted. What's family for if not this? First day in our apartment was strange. Silent, empty, but also full of possibilities. Chloe and I assembled furniture bought second-hand. Small kitchen table, slightly worn but comfortable olive green sofa, 2 beds, bookcase for Chloe's books. Little by little empty space filled with life. I planted mint on balcony. 3 small pots with plant that had become my symbol of resilience. Mint that grows anywhere, that survives even when cut, that always comes back stronger, just like me. One evening sitting on balcony watching sunset, Chloe asked, Grandma, do you think you'll ever forgive Dad? I thought about question. Sky stained with orange and pink. Clouds moving slowly. I think forgiveness is complicated, I replied. It doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't mean allowing it to happen again. It means releasing poison so it doesn't make you sick inside. Someday maybe I can forgive him, but I'll never forget, and I'll never allow him to hurt me again. She nodded, resting head on my shoulder. I admire you so much. Grandma, you're strongest person I know. I laughed softly. I don't feel strong, Chloe. Most days I barely feel like I'm surviving. But surviving is already victory, I think. Weeks passed. Apartment felt more like home. Found part-time job at neighborhood flower shop. Nothing extravagant. Just helping organize arrangements. Tending customers 3 days a week. Paid $15 an hour. Wasn't much, but it was mine. Money I earned through own effort that no one could take from me. Chloe thrived in new life. Grades improved. Made new friends. Started smiling more. One night came home excited. Grandma, I got accepted into school art club. We're having exhibition next month. Do you want to come? Of course, I replied, hugging her. Wouldn't miss it for anything. Marcus's messages eventually stopped. Last I heard from him was short text 3 months after settlement. Mom, just wanted you to know kids are doing well. Elijah got good grades. Isaiah made soccer team, thought you'd like to know. I didn't reply but saved message. 6 months after I left, my life had found rhythm I never thought possible. Woke when body was ready, not when alarm demanded I serve others. Drank coffee on balcony watching sunrise over neighborhood buildings. Mint plants had grown lush, green leaves shining, gently swaying in morning breeze. Sometimes I'd tear off leaf, rub between fingers, let aroma remind me of where I came from and how far I'd come. Flower shop became more than job. Owner, woman named Ariana in her 50s, taught me secret language of flowers. Roses don't just mean love, she told me as we arranged bouquet. Chrysanthemums speak of truth. Daisies of innocence. Lilies of renewal. I listened and learned. For first time in decades felt like I was growing as person instead of just existing for others. Chloe blossomed in ways that filled my heart. Her art exhibition was success. Presented series of paintings about invisible women. Women who worked in background while others shone in front. One painting was of me, though I didn't recognize at first. Older woman standing in kitchen, figure almost transparent while life around her continued without seeing her. When I asked why she painted me that way, she said, because for a long time you were invisible to everyone but me. But you're not anymore, Grandma. Now everyone sees you. One Saturday afternoon, 3 months after moving in, I received unexpected call. Number I didn't recognize, but something inside said I should answer. Hello, I said cautiously. Grandma Grace. It was Elijah's voice. Twin, more mature than last time I heard, but unmistakable. Grandma, it's me, Elijah. Please don't hang up. My heart pounded. Hello, Elijah, how are you? Silence then. I miss you. Isaiah misses you too. Dad and Mom won't let us talk about you. They say you left because you don't love us. Tears started rolling down cheeks. I miss you both so much, I whispered. Every day. How are you? We're okay, he told me about school, about Isaiah's soccer team, about new teacher, spoke quickly as if afraid someone would discover him. Then he said something that broke me. Grandma, Dad says you hated us. That's why you left. But I don't believe it. You never looked at us like we were burden. Not like them. Elijah, listen closely, I said, voice firm but loving. I love you, and Isaiah and Chloe who's with me. I love you more than words can express. I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because your father was hurting me in ways you can't understand yet. Sometimes people we love hurt us. Walking away isn't abandonment. It's protection. I heard his ragged breathing. I understand, he finally said. Or maybe I don't understand everything, but I know you're not bad. I know Dad and Mom lie about lot of things. I see it, Grandma. When I'm older, can I come visit you? Of course you can, I replied. When you're older and can make own decisions, my door will always be open. Call lasted only 10 minutes. When he hung up, I stayed sitting on sofa, holding phone against chest. Chloe came out of her room, saw me crying, sat next to me. It was the twins, I told her. She hugged me without saying anything. Sometimes silence is best comfort. Autumn arrived, painting trees in warm colors. Leaves fell like whispered confessions, covering streets in shades of ochre and cinnamon. I turned 63 in October. Janet and Chloe threw me small party in our apartment. Chocolate cake, candles, slightly off-key happy birthday song, simple but meaningful gifts. Janet gave hand-knitted mustard-colored sweater. Chloe gave diary with note on first page. So you can write your story, Grandma. The real one. The one no one can take from you. That night alone in room, I opened diary. Blank page, intimidated. What story did I have to tell? But then picked up pen and started writing. Not from beginning but from end. I wrote, today I turned 63 and for first time in decades I am free. Then kept writing backward, unraveling threads of my life, finding patterns I hadn't seen before. Sacrifice, silence, submission, but also resilience, resistance, rebirth. December brought cold and Christmas lights. Chloe and I decorated apartment modestly. Wreath on door, white lights around window. Small tree bought secondhand, decorated with handmade ornaments. We didn't have much, but we had enough. Peace, dignity, each other. Christmas Eve, Janet invited us for dinner. Cooked together, 3 women in small kitchen laughing as we peeled potatoes, seasoned turkey, house smelled of cinnamon and rosemary. Table set with nice dishes. When we sat to eat, Janet raised glass of cheap wine, made toast. To women who stand up, to ones who leave when they need to ones who build family with those who value them, not just those who share their blood. We clinked glasses, sound echoed like tiny bells. In that moment, surrounded by these 2 women who'd saved me as much as I'd saved them, I realized something. I'd lost a lot. My house, my money, my relationship with my son, my grandchildren. But I'd gained something far more valuable. I'd gained myself back. That night, back in apartment, I sat on balcony despite cold, mint plants dormant for winter but roots still alive beneath soil, waiting for spring to grow again, just as I had been through darkest winter of my life. But spring would come, it always does. Chloe came out with blanket, wrapped it around my shoulders, sat next to me. Grandma, what are you thinking about? I smiled. I'm thinking I didn't need to yell to be heard. I just needed to leave for them to understand. I'm thinking I spent 62 years learning to be small, invisible, serviceable. Now I'm learning to be me. Whole, visible, valuable. She took my hand. You did it, Grandma. You got out. You survived. I shook head gently. It wasn't about winning, Chloe. It was about choosing myself. Finally, after a lifetime, I chose myself. And that, my child, was greatest victory of all. Night sky was full of stars. City glowed softly around us. Somewhere in that city was Marcus with his children, probably telling them story where I was villain, but I no longer carried that narrative. I'd written my own. In my story, I was neither villain nor victim. I was heroine who saved herself. Chloe rested head on my shoulder. We stayed there in silence, watching city lights blink like small promises. Future stretched before us, uncertain but full of possibilities. For first time in long time, that future didn't scare me, because I'd learned most important lesson. You can love someone and still walk away. You can forgive without forgetting. You can start over at any age. Mint on balcony was waiting for spring. I was too, but I was no longer waiting to serve others. I was waiting to bloom for myself. And when that spring came, when plants grew again and world filled with green once more, I would be here, free, whole, finally home in my own life. I never went back to that house where I was invisible. Never answered when they called to ask for something again. I closed that door gently but firmly. On the other side I built something new, something mine, something no one could ever take from me again. They never touched my name without permission again, and I never made myself small to fit spaces others designed for me. This was my life now, and it was enough, more than enough. The end.